Okay, welcome to part 11 of my Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. In our last Let's Play, we entered Skull Woods, retrieved the Fire Rod and the third crystal from the maiden imprisoned there. Now, during that attempt to go through that dungeon, I used one of my fairies, so I have an empty bottle, and I'd like to fill it with something before we proceed. I'm going to go ahead and transport to the light world, and I'm going to use the flute to get to the witch's hut just a little bit faster. I'm going to step inside and speak to the witch's assistant, get a taste of the red medicine, and go ahead and buy a blue potion. So now we have 2 blue potions and 1 fairy in a bottle. So that should cover us through the rest of the next dungeon. I don't anticipate using both of the blue potions. If I do, I'll be in a little over my head. So, to save some time, I'm going to use the flute to transport to Kakariko Village. As you recall, the 4th dungeon in the Dark World is in the Dark World's equivalent of Kakariko Village. So there is a hidden teleporter right just north of the village here, not through this entrance, but we'll have to go through Lost Woods and come out a little bit closer to it because it is being blocked by black stones that we're unable to lift at the current point in time. Okay, so we need to pull out the magic hammer, pound down these stakes, and we can go through the transporter here to the Dark World just outside of the Village of Outcasts. Take out the moblin here, and we are in great shape to head into the dungeon. Now, in an earlier episode, I showed you how to already enter this dungeon. Just while walking through the village, I saw the statue here and decided to go ahead and go for it. There is a grate guarding this stairway down into the dungeon. You just grab onto it with A and pull back, and Link will be thrown backwards, but the grate will come off and allow you access to Gargoyle's domain, which is the name of the 4th dungeon. So this one, this is actually one of my favorite dungeons in the Dark World. I'm not the best at making my way through it, but for some reason I just enjoy the puzzles in this one just a little bit more. So you can see we've got 2 floors here that kind of interact with each other for how we're going to go ahead and make it through this dungeon. So, not a whole lot here on the top floor, but there is a door that we can't make it through right now. So I'm going to go ahead and jump down right into the action on the 1st floor down here, grab the dungeon map. We see a new enemy just there at the corner of the map screen text box. Those are called Zazaks, and the blue ones are relatively harmless. They kind of wander around, but the red ones launch fireballs at you if you get within a straight path of them. So you really have to watch out for that. So you'd think an enemy that had a mohawk and came at you would be a little more intimidating, but it turns out, no, they aren't really that intimidating. If you get a bunch of them in one place, they can be pretty tough, or in the sequel, in A Link Between Worlds, they seem just a little bit tougher, but here in A Link to the Past, they're not that bad. But you see, their fireball is very potent. I took 2 hearts damage just from getting hit by their projectile attack. And it is a magic attack, and I just got hit by a transporter here that rendered me helpless for a moment. Okay, so I took that out, and we're going to go ahead and keep going through this dungeon. So now we have the map and the compass, and if you recall, there is a treasure chest on the bottom floor just to the left of this room. So I'm going to check out this top floor a little bit more first. Just filling my inventory a little bit here. And I believe if you head through this door, it'll shut behind you, so I'm not going to bother with that. As you can see, it's already shut right there. So that would have just been a waste of time. So this dungeon doesn't mess around. It gives you all the key elements within just a minute or two of getting through the door. We've got everything here. We can, all we have to worry about now are just small keys to make our way through. So we have the map, I got hit by a hidden, yellow transporter thing. Magic. Whatever nullifies the power of the Moon Pearl. I got hit by one of those. Kind of like a bubble. I don't know. Alright, so let's check out the bottom floor here before we head further north. Okay, we came in from here. And we came in this room from that room. Let's go ahead and check out the rest of this room. You just kind of have to wait it out. There isn't anything you can do to speed it up that I know of. But yeah, you're just rendered helpless for a minute. As with any enemy, you can take them out quicker, of course, if you actually strike them with the Master Sword versus hitting them with the magic blast from it. But to head through, we're going to need to bust through that cracked wall. We can also head through this wall, this door right here that requires the big key. I'm going to go ahead and check out the rest of the room first. So that's pretty much it for there. Let's go ahead and look a little bit west of here. You can see that there is a spot in the wall where we can bust through with a running dash from the Pegasus boots. But that doesn't really help us too much because you can just walk through below. It's not really necessary. Let's check out the rest of this room. We've got access to it from the lower level. And we can get back upstairs if we use that staircase right there. This just heads back down through the other door. Nothing special here, so we'll head back up. And let's check out what's in that chest. There might be a small key in there, which would come in handy. Take out the jumping Stalthos, the blue one. The blue ones are nice because they don't actually launch bones at you when you miss a sword strike. So underneath that pot was an ambush, and you just kind of have to move off to the side and it'll dissipate once it hits a wall. And another ambush. So if you like turning Link into a helpless little pink bunny, then go ahead. You can eat your heart out there, because there will be plenty of opportunities in this dungeon to turn into a bunny. So I think that's it for those two rooms. We've just got the wall there that we can bust through, and we've also got the big key door. So we need to make it through on that side of the wall. And that may be, that may be the point of busting through that wall using the Pegasus shoes, is to put you over on that side, because it doesn't look like there's any other way to get through there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. I'm going to break through the wall using the bomb. And I seem to recall when I played this originally, I had a hard time finding that crack in the wall for some reason. I don't really know why, because it doesn't seem like it's that well hidden, but using your sword you can hear that it's hollow whenever you poke it. And make sure that you don't actually pick up the bomb and throw it away from the wall like I did. You should be able to bust through. And in here, not a whole lot, but we'll be coming back to this room later. So I'm going to go ahead and use my boomerang and pick up that right there. But just for completion's sake, it lets you through if you go ahead and bust through the wall with a bomb. So let's head back, and we will use the big key to make it through. I'm just going to check my map real quick. This is maybe the first time I've used the map in this Let's Play. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything on these floors. So there's the entrance right there on level B1, and yep, no treasure chests or anything. They aren't showing up on the compass. So let's go ahead and walk through this door. And we, if I recall, we'll be back to this hallway again. We need to find some more things and head back through. We need a key for one, and there's one right there. We are lucky enough to find the key right underneath the pot. And this room contains nothing for the time being, but I guarantee we will be back to this room later in the dungeon. We have to kind of modify our surroundings first a little bit, and you'll see what I mean when we get there. So we'll take out the Zazak, pick up the pots, find any supplies that we can under there. Still a little low on rupees after spending it on that blue potion, so we can stand to pick up a little bit. These enemies, these little nuclei, are weak whenever they try to separate from the rest of their host body. So avoid the bubble. You can use magic powder to get rid of them if you want, but it's just as easy if you're quick enough that you can just walk around them without having to deal with them too awful much. But just try not to get cocky like I did and take a hit. Let's go ahead and walk through. We've got a Zazak here, and another one of these nuclei enemies that I cannot recall the name of, but we can't go through that door. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out. I replenished my hearts there, but I did take a significant hit to my magic from walking into that bubble. But we should be able to find some magic pots to bring that back before the end of the dungeon, so I'm not too worried about that. So I'm going to avoid the fireball again and try to make it through without getting hit too awful hard. Let's see, the bubble is trapped there in that side of the thing, so I don't think I can hit it with the magic powder. If I did, oh well, but for now we can't make it through because we have this crystal switch right here. And we have no key, so we have to see if there's a key underneath this pot, and sure enough there is. So, we can head down the door, and that takes us up a floor. So we've got a new enemy here, these little green insect-looking enemies. I do not recall the name of those, and if you recall, we saw the one-eyed bats in Hyrule Castle whenever we confronted Ganem. So those ones aren't new. We've seen those ones before. But we have a telepathy panel, so we'll talk to it. This time it's Zelda again. She warns us not to be deceived by the magic of Blind the Thief. Be careful. And that name should sound a little familiar to you. If you recall, in Kakariko Village, we spoke to someone who used to be in a thieves' hideout, who mentioned Blind the Thief. It used to be the hideout of Blind the Thief. So, it appears that Blind actually came to the Golden Land seeking the Golden Power. So I hit the crystal switch, but I don't think we can make it through this door yet. I think this is pretty much a one-way ticket. So, let's check it out. Nope, I was mistaken. Using the block, we can make it through here, take out these green insect enemies. And you'll notice a few holes in the floor. You can drop bombs there, but I don't think anything significant actually happens whenever we drop the bombs there. We can do it on the way back, just for completion's sake, to see if they happen. But this one crack in the floor is very prominently featured right here, and there's light shining on it. So if we actually use the bomb and throw it across the gap, the light will shine down the hole. And I'll go ahead and drop bombs here, but it's not going to do anything. These cracks don't actually break whenever you drop bombs on them. Okay, In the room below, with the moving conveyor belts, we also had a door that was blocked by these orange and blue blocks that should now be accessible. And it makes the room past that accessible. I'm going to go ahead and equip my bow just so I can dispatch this enemy a little faster. And we've got a lot of conveyor belts in this room. And the Wii is taking a crap right now. It's just not handling all these enemies on the screen. The frame rate is just dying. So, earlier, I think in my very first episode, I was praising the Wii U for how it handled the emulation. And for the most part, it is very good. But whenever a lot of enemies happen on the screen, I feel like the frame rate drops a lot more than it did on the original Nintendo. Okay, so you can see there's a switch there that opens whenever you stand on it right there. I am going to head down one level though first. So before we continue through that door, I'm going to go ahead and check out the rest of this floor. There is a very large block there, and usually we've seen these blocks before. Usually you can push them, pull them, something like that. But we've never seen one this big. It doesn't let you push it, but if you try to pull on it, Link will lift it, and you can throw it just like a normal rock. So we've got one lone Zazak down here. I'm going to head through this door to the left. And we've got jail cells, but we have no key. Perhaps the big key lets us through, though. Watch out for the transforming agent, and it looks like there's a girl imprisoned here. She wants us to take her outside. But I'll save you the hassle of having to track her down. She doesn't really want to go outside. If you take her there, she kind of refuses, if I recall correctly. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through this locked door here before we continue with the rest of the dungeon. And we find the big chest surrounded by a bunch of moles. And I don't really know why, other than to trap you and get you in the middle of this while the passageway out is blocked. So inside we find the Titan's Mitt, or the gold gauntlets. If you compare it to Ocarina of Time, these will let us lift the heaviest stones that were impossible to budge, like the black ones. So try to make it through before the passageway's blocked, and we can head back through. Now Link can lift pretty much everything in the game. Everything that once blocked him before, we can now take care of. So let's head through this door right here, and I don't think there's anything in this room. I think it's just a couple berry and those moving platforms there. So just a little bit of a challenge. So we'll walk back through this door. I've already cleared it, and we can head back upstairs. And the girl will follow us. But like I said before, if you take her to the dungeon, she won't really go there. She doesn't really want to walk out the door too awful bad, despite what she says. So we'll take her through this door right here. And if you recall, this was an empty room before, but just above this floor, we bombed the wall, and light shines down through. And if you remember, the gentleman in the light world who told us about blind said that blind hated light. Blind was fooling us. So we need to fight blind. Blind becomes a skull, or its head comes off and attacks the rest of the room here. So one way to take blind out quickly is to use your Master Sword spin attack. And like the Hydra in the earlier Legend of Zelda games, you've got multiple heads flying around shooting fireballs everywhere. And that's kind of why I like this boss so much, is because it's just so ridiculous compared to a few other ones. So I'm going to go ahead and restore my health because it's very low. And as it turns out, that was a waste of a potion because now I didn't even need it. Grab a heart container and retrieve the real maiden in distress. And hopefully we'll hear a little bit more of the legend. The Knights of Hyrule were nearly wiped out defending the wise men who were sealing the Golden Land. Yes, we understand. Okay, now we have the golden gauntlets, which will allow us to lift very heavy stones. So no more do we have to go all the way around whenever we want to access places now. We don't have to avoid these heavy rocks. We can now pick up the black rocks that previously had us stymied. So there are a few more places we can access now that we have the Titans made. So one of those places is just south of the Village of Outcasts. We can also access the Dark World's equivalent of where the blacksmith is. And just for context, you can kind of see that the blacksmith's house in the Dark World, the equivalent of his house, is kind of destroyed. I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity, if this fairy comes back, to snag it, throw it in a bottle for now. And just for context, I'm going to go ahead and head to the blacksmith's house so you can see what exactly it is I'm talking about here. Now, the blacksmith says that his partner's gone, so they can't do anything to help us right now, but if we bring his partner back, we can get our sword upgraded. So his partner somehow found a passageway to the Dark World. Whether he went there on his own, looking for the Golden Power, or happened to stumble through one, he is in the Dark World and is lost and alone. So just south of the village, we may have seen this before, is a little toad. And if you kind of put it two and two together there, a dwarf would pretty much kind of look like a little toad whenever they got transformed. So it turns out this is the guy. This is the other blacksmith. So he wants us to take him home. So we should be able to just go ahead and head back, and hand in hand, I suppose, we can transport to the light world. His form is restored, and we can take him home. Okay, he wants us to drop by another time, thanks us profusely for bringing his partner home, and if we stop back, meaning if we walk outside and walk back inside, they will offer to temper our sword. So we get a big discount because we saved his partner there, so 10 rupees. And yeah, we'll go ahead and make the Master Sword a little bit stronger. But the thing to notice is Link now has no sword. If you press B, Link will try to swing a sword, but nothing happens. There is no sword. So you can swing aimlessly at these chickens and not do anything at all. So the Cuckoos now have an advantage over you. But all you have to do is just leave the area and come back, I believe. And it's funny because Link usually runs his sword out in front of him whenever he uses the Pegasus Boot Dash, but now Link just runs with his arms down at his side and crashes into things. So it's kind of amusing. So yeah, we upgraded the Master Sword, and it's now a red sword. So, if the fighter sword did 1 damage and the master sword does 2 damage, twice as much damage, the tempered sword does 3 damage. Plus it just looks cool. So there's one other thing we can do in this area, thanks to having the Titan's Mitt, or 2 other things actually. First we're going to go back through and we're going to lift this really heavy stone. And you can see that there are a bunch of chicken skeleton creatures here, but that's not really what we're concerned about at the moment. There's a lot of conspicuous stakes in the ground. So, if you're curious enough, you can walk through and pound every single little stake. Trying not to smash chickens in the meantime. And once you've pounded and smashed every single stake, that stump will change into a little passageway with a cave. Inside, we will find piece of heart number 20, which completes another heart container. Additionally, there's one more thing we can do. Inside the remnants of the mirrored version of the blacksmith's house, we now find this treasure chest. This wasn't here before. But if we walk up, we can see that the treasure chest is locked. And supposedly, the key is locked inside, so there's no way to ever open it. And it'll follow you around. You just kind of bring it wherever you go, and it'll follow you. But if you take damage, it will stop following you. If you run, if you dash, it'll stay behind. So you just have to grab it and take it with you. Now, remember, probably in the second episode, we dropped through the thieves' hideout in a little cave passageway in the Lost Woods, and we talked to a thief there. And the thief told us that there was an ex-member of their group, probably one of the best, who was just hiding out at the entrance to the desert. And in a later episode, we entered the desert palace, and we passed by a man, just a middle-aged man, just a normal middle-aged man, who refused to talk to us. All we did was just walk up to him, and he was completely silent, and there was a sign beside him that said, "Do not bother this middle-aged man." Well, it turns out that he is the thief. He is the master thief, the one that retired and just wanted to live a quiet life in the desert. So, he may be the only person who's able to help us get this treasure chest open. So I'm going to use the magic mirror. The treasure chest will follow me through into the light world, and we can walk right up to him. So after I take out this castle guard, let's go ahead and give him the chest and see what he can do. So, in exchange for keeping his secret, he'll open the chest. So, I promise, I won't tell anyone I'm Link. I honestly couldn't say anything if I tried. And inside we find a 4th magic bottle. So that's a great item right there. So before we finish this Let's Play, I'm going to go ahead and transport to the witch's hut. Finish this episode of the Let's Play, that is. And I'm going to buy one more blue potion. I was almost up to 999 again, but now we've got 2 blue potions and 2 fairies. So we're pretty much ready for anything here. So thanks for watching this episode of my Let's Play. In the next one, we will be heading to the Ice Palace on the Dark Worlds version of Lake Hylia. Thanks for watching, and I hope you tune in next time.